Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. And every Thursday in the month of October, I will be taking a look at a previously released or new, if I can make it work, NECA horror related ultimate action figure. And today we're going to be taking a look at the NECA Ultimate Nosferatu, a Symphony of Horror Count Orlok here. One of the most earliest depictions of a vampire. I think a lot of people know the story about this. It was basically Dracula, definitely not exactly, because they just did not have the rights. But this here, of course, is the Max Schreck version of Nosferatu, looking really awesome. I don't remember how recent of a release this is. It's definitely in the past year or so. Finally got this recently from a toy store called the Toy Department in Ohio. Very good shop there. And yeah, just very excited for this. We're almost done with the horror-related stuff I got to do. I got one more next week. But anyway, let's go ahead, take a look at the packaging here. There is two versions of this. I forgot to mention this one in color, and then we have a black and white version, kind of like what they do with their, what is it? The Universal Monsters that they do. So you see the front of the box with that really cool text right there with Nosferatu Ultimate Action Figure. Very nice illustration too. On this side, double checking. Yes, they're different images. On this side, we have this image here, where it is Nosferatu, or, Count Orlok. I keep forgetting. This is not exactly Nosferatu. It's technically Count Orlok. But we do have NECA and Real Toys there. Image of the figure, as well as the wording right there. On this side here, you do see where it says Nosferatu, a Symphony of Horror. Then Count Orlok there, with some cool accessories, NECA and Real Toys. So let's back out a little bit. Hopefully autofocus works with me here. It just says what was on the front of the box and a lot of the wording there with NECA, ages 17 and up, as well as a warning choking hazard. We have the bottom right here. You can see all the credits right there on the left side, NECA and Real Toys, as well as a barcode in case you need that. We look on the back here. It's just a bunch of images of the figure with different accessories, different posing going on, as well as where it says again, Nosferatu. Very cool lighting, very cool images. Down here, we have a quick look at all the stuff that this comes with. And we will take a look at all of that, of course. So let's open the flap here like we have with a lot of these Ultimate figures. Very nice image of Count Orlok right there. Just standing, looking menacing. If you have SpongeBob figures, I bet this is going to be hilarious. I do not, but as you see here, we do have the figure in the box, as well as a lot of stuff going on there. Very cool. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. And here is Count Orlok out of the packaging, standing nice and tall. This thing is actually really nice. I guess I had a little bit lower expectations for this figure. Not saying it was going to be bad by any means. It looked great. It's just, I guess I wasn't super excited to own a Nosferatu, but this thing here, it really has surprised me. I know there's been a few other Nosferatus coming out lately, but this one here is just really nice. I don't own the other ones, but just in hand, this is great. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. Then we'll take a closer look at the figure. Now, it gets a little tricky talking about how these hands and accessories go hand in hand, no pun intended, to where, some accessories hold which ones. It's a little tricky. I have to kind of consult the box a couple of times. Basically, from my understanding, these smaller gripped hands, especially on the right hand that you see there, where the fingers are a little bit more separated from the palms, those are meant for holding this chain of keys as well as holding other accessories. But the left one there, it's a little hard to see, but it doesn't have any separation of the fingers in the palms. So that's just a closed off hand. Doesn't really hold anything, it feels like. But as you see with this chain of keys here, these are plastic keys, but a real chain here, looking really nice. There's different size keys of these ring holes with a lot of these different, I don't know exactly what these parts are called on keys. I apologize. But there's a really big loop on this one. Then they get a little bit more medium or smaller, but also a little skinnier, I feel like, as they get a little smaller. Actually, medium one here is really long. So they also have some really nice paint on there, a little bit of like a tarnishing effect, a little bit of like a grayish silver, something going on there. Very cool, actually. We also have this piece of paper, and I also don't really know if the figure can hold this, but you have a lot of markings, and it looks a little bit dirty on the corners here. This is printed really nicely, actual real paper going on here. Don't know if it's exactly laminated paper. This will crease if you're not careful, so be wary of that, but you see the markings on this side too. Some of these accessories, it's probably smart to have some type of desk that can fit this figure on hand, so you can post this actually using some of the stuff, like what I'm about to talk about with this inkwell here. Just give you a quick look at this, because This quill here, actually, this does fit. You can make it shimmy a little bit into that right hand there. I tried it in the left hand and it just kind of flops around because there's really no good way for the left hand to hold much stuff. But you can see the right hand there. It will hold this quill. Now with this quill, you do have a lot of this light gray, almost white color here with a decent amount of black in there. And then you have this little bit of this brownish tarnishing with this very dark gray, almost black cannon. This cannon going on here. And this here, well, it's an inkwell, I should say. You can see that they did add some glossy type of paint going on there to make it look like the ink is on there. This can pop in and out. You can push this in a little bit farther, but I would not recommend that because then eventually things would get stuck and this might potentially break, so careful with that. The same kind of thing with this bottle of how, this figure is supposed to hold stuff. I assume some of these hands, with this right hand that has a little bit more of this more open grip here. That's the only right hand we get of this, because you get 5 different types of right hands and 3 different types of left hands. That includes the ones that comes packaged with. You see the grip on there. It doesn't actually, it holds it, but I don't really know if it's supposed to be doing that. It's a little bit of a tight fit when you get the top of the bottle on there. But as you see on here, it's just a black, slightly, very glossy actually, type of plastic all the way around. A little bit of a hole in here, but it's not very hollow at all, which is fine. The bottom right there is a nice flat surface, so this is still rather nice. Now, when it comes to this hat, I'm going to talk about which head goes on this in a second. But as you see, it is mostly just a black plastic. Definitely some black paint in there as well. It may even be, I don't know if there's other types of paint. It looks a little bit bluish, but that could be the light hitting it. But this thing is a very nice soft plastic. You see the inside there, how hollow that is. That is meant for this head right here. You can see that the ears are pushed back a little bit more. It's gonna be like this, so if you wanted this head without these pushed in, unfortunately it's not gonna work out, but you can pop this on. I think the correct way to do it, you can really do it however you want, but I believe the correct way from the packaging is this little, extra piece goes this way on the head. This still looks really nice, and you get to see an image of what that looks like, and I do have these hands here, which I'll talk about the rest of the stuff going on here in a little bit. But we do have this head sculpt here, as I mentioned, with the pushed in ears. Very nice pointy ears, very large. You have a little bit of some gray, I feel like, going on in the ears there. That looks really good. These black sideburns, the black, and a little bit of gray going on in those very large eyebrows. Very nice sunken eyes with some purple, like almost bruised type colors going on in there. A little bit of grayish and this very almost white makeup going on here. It looks fantastic. The back of the head also has some nice sculpt work going on there. Nice wrinkles and very large nose there. A little bit of teeth showing with those long front teeth as well. And the eyes, the pupils there, a little bloodshot looking too. Very cool. Then we get this one that is a little silly to look at, but it's also kind of terrifying as it's looking down to the left, kind of like the box art. This also looks great. Now, these ears are definitely more pushed out. You have how those sideburns are more above the ears going on there too. Looking really good. Some wrinkling on the back of the head. When you look on the inside where that joint is going to be, there's like this pinkish purplish almost. Now, I usually have problems interchanging these heads as well. But, the head that it comes packaged with will always be easy to pop in and out. But these usually can be hard. I've had no problems interchanging any of these heads. They fit on there just fine. Sometimes NECA figures have a little bit of a harder time doing that, but it's nice that these don't. And again, a little bit of like this grayish bruising type of paint detailing around the cheekbones with the stretching with that grin on the outside of the mouth there. See the teeth, the eyes again with those pupils, nice brown pupils too. Yeah, that is fantastic. When it comes to the hands, we have these hands with very long fingernails, and I'm going to show off how the figure was packaged in a little bit, but you have a lot of this type of detailing of very light gray, as well as like this pinkish purplish type of detailing. It's really paint. As you see, it gets really dark actually in the knuckles, those creases in the knuckles, but these are very long fingernails of like this bone color here, looking really nice. I do feel like the paint flakes off a little bit when you hinge these, so just be careful of that. Then we have the gripping hands I was talking about. So I'm giving you a better look now. I probably explained it like an idiot earlier, but you can see definitely some separation of the fingers on the palms, but these are definitely sculpted onto there. So In theory, you know, you could maybe fit. I mean, that's double checked that. Yeah, it's gonna fall out. This will definitely hold other accessories, even though it's definitely gonna be a tighter grip. But you can see how the detailing with those veins too on the back of the hands looking really fantastic. You see how these, these nails aren't as long. Then we have this a little bit more of a wider grip going on here. These probably could hold the keys too if you wanted to, and I haven't tried it yet. But we have another gripping hand in case you want that. Still looking really good with all that paint going on there. Last but not least, a little bit more of a relaxed hand, but it's definitely meant for, well, it looks like it's meant for holding larger types of accessories, even though it doesn't really work out that well when it comes to, like, I feel like this wouldn't really, yeah, I mean, that's not entirely how that's supposed to work, I feel like, but still really cool. Lots of great stuff going on here. So here is Count Orlok here. This looks fantastic. Just like what I talked about with those other heads. Very similar approach. For like almost like a purplish, again, type of bruising. It feels like type of paint where like the cheekbones there. They just did a really good job with how like his cheekbones are very prominent, but they get really skinny or something really sunken, I guess. Around here, the creasing around the mouth there, the large teeth, the large nose. You have very sunken eyes there with some purplish pinkish detailing with those very beady eyes too. That looks, I just love how the pupils look. It's very creepy, very unnerving. Even to this day, since the 20s, it was still, 1920s, I guess we're in the 2020s now. It was pretty terrifying still, and it's still pretty unnerving to see now, and especially in figure form. But we do have, again, sideburns up here. I think a little bit of black is splotching on there, but not too bad. Then we have the little bit of grayish going on here. I think it was more prominent on the other head, but a little bit of gray going on the black of those sideburns, or the eyebrows, excuse me. We have this sideburn, and we have these pointed ears there with a little bit of paint detailing there. Never mentioned this really, but the way that they did the bald sections here and like a little bit of creasing on the back there, that looks fantastic. And then you have this overcoat. First of all, we have this undershirt with just this blackish, blackish, it's black. A little bit of glossy type of detailing, lots of wrinkling going on there. Not exactly sure what the name of a shirt like this would be, but we have this very large collar covering the neck there, kind of giving it like a hunch, I should say. We do also have, I don't know every single workings of a coat here, but I think they're supposed, this looks like a little bit of a splotch. Maybe I can scratch that off later, right there. But the overall collar of this coat is really fantastic. A little bit of just ever so slightly gray or black type of like dusting effect, I feel like, going on the brown here. You can definitely tell that the brown is painted on here with lots of wrinkles on here. But again, very slightly some brown. I wouldn't say it's a wash, but definitely some weathering to make it look like the, kind of bring out the details of these wrinkles a little bit more. Still looks nice with the buttons right there. Very large split section right here on the coat as well. Whereas you have all these different button sections here and a very predominant wrinkle section going on in the stomach. Lots of wrinkles, of course, on pretty much the entire sleeve, especially going on here and down here with this little bit of this black cutoff section of the cuffs. When we look a little closer, let me double check this. Now, I feel like this black weathering is not as prominent, still prominent, just not as much as the inside, I feel like. Which is not that big of a complaint, but we do have the cuffs right here. Look really nice. Very minor paint detailing. I mean, there's definitely paint again. I just don't know if there's that much weathering going on. Maybe it doesn't really need it. Just something, something to mention. Then, just like the other hands, lots of nice pinkish, purplish detailing. You definitely get a lot of it going on in the hands here. That just looks very fantastic. You can see just how seeped into the wrinkles in the hands, in the palm, I should say, that all of this looks. This is what the left hand that is packaged with looks like there. That is just very nice looking. It may be a little bit more of a shorter detail section again, because it's a little bit hard to see what's going on with the pants. This whole section here is covering this, and we have this here. Oh gosh, that's starting to rip, so I got to be careful with that. I can't tell if it's reusing anything when it comes to like sculpted legs. This is a pretty tall figure, I think a little bit taller than some other ones, and we'll take a look at size comparisons a little bit, of course. I can't tell exactly what the detailing is like, but I definitely can see like a seam line sculpted in the inner thigh, probably on the outer thigh too. Something's going on with this glossy effect there. Not exactly sure what's going on, but that might be there on purpose. You see how that shines right there. But I mean, there's still like a little bit of like a very dark gray, I feel like, and a little bit of brown on the black paint. The paint variation here, you know, it usually is pretty subtle to where you can't exactly notice it, but when you're, you know, fine combing everything and you want to see how they did it, you can tell that they did put forth effort into, you know, washes and weathering. Yeah, it's very nice. Again, pretty decent, prominent lines sculpted all the way down here, getting close to the ankles. Same thing going on this side. Nice wrinkling around the legs there too. Looks like this ankle section with that articulation is just a small or a smooth ball joint type section. That's fine, honestly. I mean, it can be a little distracting, but it's whatever to me, if you ask me. Top of the feet, these nice leather boots with the lacing there and some nice wrinkles towards the toes look fantastic. And then the bottom here, there's really not much going on, but we do have peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So a little difficult to try to get an idea of what's going on in the pants, just because I wanted to show off how everything is supposed to be detailed. I mean, there's definitely some type of detailing underneath this coat, but the coat is definitely going to get in the way of showing you everything. But what you can see just like looks fantastic. The length of this, all the detailing, especially on the coat, the wrinkles, and then the detailing on like the hands and the face here that it comes packaged with are all fantastic. Now you'd think that, you know, this character doesn't need to really do much in terms of posing, but it actually doesn't have very bad articulation. It's actually quite good. Now the head movement doesn't really go up that far, unfortunately. But we have a ball joint here at the head going into the neck, and then this neck also has articulation going into the body. So with that, you get really good down motion, a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. You can kind of see how that gap looks there. Side to side, I feel like could be a little bit better. Head feels like it wants to pop off a little bit, but swivel there. You can make the neck swivel independently if you want, but it's a little bit of a trouble for me to do that right now. But yeah, I feel like the head articulation could be a tiny bit better. Now this here, you might want to shimmy around to make sure that doesn't bend like I just did that, but it actually goes out really nice, all the way 90. And then that goes all the way down. Arms can go all the way around here. Yeah, at some point it feels like it gets a little stuck, but it's going to be normal, I guess. Definitely didn't feel like anything was breaking, but we still have like a little bit over 90 actually on here. And a swivel here at the elbow, swivel at the wrist, and the hinge at the wrist for all sets of hands. The forward motion isn't as good as the back motion there. A little bit tricky to talk about the midsection, but I feel like there is a ball joint at the actual chest, maybe at the stomach, and then around at the waist is probably a ball joint, so it can swivel a little bit in here and shimmy forward and back, but yeah, and maybe, you know, a swivel here, but you're really not going to get that much out of this, unfortunately, especially going forward and back because of how this coat is done. Same thing with the leg articulation. Really not going to go forward that much because this, you know, I ripped this a little bit, so be careful, but this really won't allow it to go forward. Actually, it goes a little bit, yeah, not too much back, and it splits pretty much not non-existent, but not great. You will get a thigh swivel. It's actually better on this side here, going on there. And then you do have actually a 90-degree bend, which could be better still, but sometimes NECA figures don't even have that. Swivel there. We have a swivel here at the ankle and that ball joint, basically. The down motion definitely could be better. The up motion could also be a little bit better. Then you get an ankle rocker. So definitely could have better articulation in the lower torso, but up here in the arms and head is actually really good. Measuring out the figure, we're getting at around 19.5, almost at that point, centimeters. That's going to put this a little bit over 7.5, almost 7 3/4 inches. As you can see, excluding the hat size, this is going to be taller than last week's review, the NECA Ultimate John Carver from Thanksgiving. On the left, we have another vampire, Bela Lugosi's Dracula, which is going to be shorter, and then a Marvel Legends Instant Black series. Those are going to be standard size, very short. Overall, very good figure. I cannot speak on other Nosferatu figures out there, but I am having a lot of fun with this one here. Maybe not the most articulated action figure. Maybe if you want another one, I think if they made a Mezco one, I'm not entirely sure, but this one still can hit the poses that you would need for this, particular character. We have a lot of different accessories too. Great head sculpts, so lots of different hands, even though it's a little bit hard to figure out what exactly some of these hands are meant for. The other accessories like the keys, the inkwell, the bottle, as well as the paper and the hat, all of that is really well done. Very nicely detailed. Of course, NECA can do no wrong when it comes to detail sculpting in paint. Just a really nice looking piece. I got mine again from the toy department. I believe it's in Fairfield, Ohio. I believe it is available on other retail websites. Sometimes maybe Target, not entirely sure. I'll leave links down in the description below if I can find any. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about this figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends, follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.